Nobody becomes great by accident. That sentence sounds obvious until you actually sit with it, because most people live like it isn't true. They wait for greatness to happen to them. A lucky break, a discovery, a moment where someone finally notices what they were capable of all along. But greatness has never once worked that way. It has always been built, deliberately, by someone who stopped waiting to be found. Think about the word accident for a second. An accident is unintentional, unplanned, something that happens despite you, rather than because of you. Now try naming one person you genuinely admire who became exceptional by accident. You can't, because it doesn't happen. Every capability you respect in someone else was assembled on purpose, through choices nobody forced them to make. This is the part that should change how you see your own life. If greatness required intention, then its absence usually means intention was missing too. Not talent, not luck, intention. Most people aren't failing to become exceptional because the world blocked them. They're failing because they never actually decided to build it. They only ever wished for it, which is a very different thing entirely. Wishing feels like effort because it occupies your attention. You think about the life you want, you imagine it in detail. You can practically feel what it would be like to have it. But wishing has never built anything because wishing doesn't require your hands. It only requires your imagination, and imagination alone has never once produced a result anyone could point to. Compare that to intention. Intention isn't a feeling, it's a decision followed by action, repeated on purpose, aimed at a specific outcome. The difference between someone who wishes for a strong body and someone who intentionally builds one isn't desire. Both people want it. The difference is that one of them translated the want into a deliberate, repeated action, and the other left it entirely as a thought. Here's an uncomfortable truth worth sitting with. You can want something intensely for years and still never move an inch closer to it, because wanting was never the mechanism. Intention was. You can tell how intentional someone actually is not by what they say they want, but by what their calendar, their habits, and their actual choices reveal about where their effort has really been going. Think about someone who says they want to write a book. If you looked at their actual days, what they do with their evenings, their weekends, their free hours, would you see evidence of a person building toward that outcome? Or would you see a person who wants the outcome while spending their actual time on something entirely unrelated to it? The gap between those two things is where most dreams quietly die. This isn't a moral failing. It's simply how humans default without intention steering them. Left unmanaged, time drifts toward whatever is easiest, most immediately entertaining, least demanding. That's not laziness in some dramatic sense. It's just the natural direction of an unintentional life, comfortable, scattered, and reactive, instead of built with purpose. Intention is what interrupts that drift. It's the decision to say, specifically, this outcome matters enough that I will organize real effort around it, instead of letting effort go wherever momentum happens to carry it that day. Nobody drifts into greatness. People only ever drift into whatever required the least resistance, and greatness has never been the path of least resistance. Consider how deliberate excellence actually looks up close, stripped of the mythology. It's not a single burst of inspired genius. It's someone deciding, repeatedly, exactly what to work on, exactly how much time to give it, exactly what standard to hold themselves to, then actually doing that on ordinary days when nothing forced them to and no one was checking. That last part matters enormously. No one was checking. Intention that only shows up when someone's watching isn't really intention, it's performance. Real intention operates identically whether or not an audience exists, because the person driving it isn't doing it for approval. They're doing it because they've decided, internally, that the outcome is worth the effort, regardless of whoever finds out. This is why so many people who look impressive on social media never actually build anything lasting. Their intention only activates in front of an audience. The moment the camera stops, so does the effort. Real builders are almost the opposite. Most of their intentional effort happens exactly where no one will ever see it, because that's where the actual construction takes place. Here's a question worth asking honestly. If no one ever found out about your effort, no recognition, no acknowledgement, not even a compliment, would you still be doing it? If the answer is yes, you've found real intention. If the answer is no, you've found a performance dressed up as ambition, and performances collapse the moment the audience disappears. Think about what separates someone who becomes excellent at something from someone who merely dabbles in it for years. Dabbling has no target. It moves wherever curiosity happens to wander that week. Intentional practice has a target, revisited constantly, adjusted deliberately, pursued specifically. That target is what turns scattered effort into compounding progress instead of just motion without direction. This is why I've been working on myself for years, sometimes means almost nothing on its own. Years of scattered, undirected effort rarely produce the same result as months of focused, intentional effort aimed precisely. Time alone was never the variable that mattered most. Direction was. You can spend a decade moving and still arrive nowhere in particular if the moving was never aimed anywhere specific. Consider two people who both spend an hour a day working on themselves. One spends it wherever their mood happens to lead, sometimes reading, sometimes scrolling, sometimes half-heartedly practicing a skill. The other spends it on the exact same specific skill, deliberately, every single day, tracking whether it's improving. A year later, only one of them has anything concrete to show for that hour, and it was never about who had more time. This is the quiet difference between people who eventually become exceptional and people who stay permanently promising. Promising is a description of potential. Exceptional is a description of built results. The gap between them is intention, applied consistently, over enough time that the results finally become undeniable to anyone paying attention, including the person who built them. Here's what makes intention hard to sustain. It doesn't feel dramatic while it's happening. There's no cinematic moment where the intention pays off visibly. It just looks like another ordinary session, another rep, another hour spent on the same specific target as yesterday. The drama, if it ever arrives, shows up much later, built entirely from days that individually looked completely unremarkable. This is why so many people abandon intentional effort before it compounds into anything visible. They mistake the lack of immediate spectacle for a lack of progress. But progress built through intention rarely announces itself early. It accumulates quietly, beneath the surface, the same way a foundation gets laid underground long before anyone can see the building rising above it. So if you're in that quiet, unremarkable stage right now, putting in deliberate effort with nothing dramatic to show for it yet, that's not a sign you're doing it wrong. That's exactly what intentional effort looks like before it compounds into something visible. The absence of applause isn't evidence of failure. It's simply evidence that you're still early in a process that was always going to take longer than you wanted.